Hey, good day, everyone. Um, my name is Punesh Jani. I'm the manager of planning and development services at City of Merritt. I'm joined by my colleague Krisha Shah. She is also a planner at City of Merritt. We are here to present an overview of overall official community plan project update. As you may have been aware that as mandated by the province, all the municipalities across the BC are required to update the official community plan before December 2025 as per the new provincial legislation. So in this presentation, we'll cover a detailed overview of the update process, what's what it means for our community, and I will walk you through the why this update is happening now and how you can get involved as a community member. I think I missed one slide. Just a second. Yeah, before we begin, we would like to begin the presentation by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of Inkakama and Silik people. And this presentation will cover and explains why the OCP is being updated and what's driving this process. We'll walk you through the timeline of the overall process, and we will also touch base regarding key milestones and how those milestones can be achieved. And you will also get a summary of the key amendments and proposed changes in the OCP, and also learn how you can provide your input in the overall OCP update process. So I just wanted to provide some basic information about what is official community plan. So as per a local government act, a council of a municipality must adopt an official community plan. So it's required by the provincial legislation. An OCP is basically a long-term vision for communities' growth and development. It provides a comprehensive framework that addresses key aspects like housing, transportation, infrastructure, and climate change. It contains clearly defined goals, objectives, and policies that basically guide how we can manage and accommodate growth over the period of next 20 years. This includes both existing and proposed land uses. In other words, it maps out um, both existing and proposed land use designations and different type of development activities that should take place in different locations. It also identifies existing and proposed infrastructure facilities, like parks, schools, community centers, recreational infrastructures, etc. Um, the plan also identifies how different infrastructure systems like water, sewer, road can be updated over the period of time to support and growth uh, in a sustainable way. And lastly, it contains policies aimed at targeting to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and it promotes water conservation so that future generations can thrive into environmentally resilient community. And at the end, it has development permit area guidelines, which is basically guidelines for certain type of development. So, for example, right now in the current OCP, we have 11 development permit areas. Some of the development permit areas contains guidelines for form and character of different housing, like residential, commercial, and mixed use development. And certain areas are hazard areas and has some geotechnical issues. So there is a separate development permit area for a geotechnically sensitive areas and riparian areas. So basically, OCP is overall it's a roadmap for land use and development, influencing many aspects of our daily lives. And it contains overall vision of the community and how a growth can be directed over a period of time. Because of the recent provincial legislation changes, no longer allow a city to hold a public hearing for rezoning that is consistent with the OCP. So this will be an opportunity for you to provide some feedback about the OCP and what sort of policies or housing types community would like to see. So it will be your opportunity to share that feedback. Um, just a bit of a background to understand what is small scale multi-unit housing legislations. So in the fall 2023, province of BC introduced housing statutes, which known as Bill 44, or and also known as small scale multi-unit housing legislations. The new legislations requires all local governments to allow small scale multi-unit housing, which is basically secondary suites, detached secondary dwellings, triplexes, fourplexes, sixplexes, in the areas that was previously only allowed housing for single family residential. To meet this requirement, city updated its zoning bylaw to allow small scale multi-unit housing in the appropriate areas, which means a zoning bylaw now allows small secondary suites and detached secondary dwellings. Our bylaw was already progressive, so it already allowed secondary suites and detached secondary dwellings. But overall density that was permitted in low density, medium density, and high density residential areas was increased substantially to comply with the new legislations and to incorporate broader type of housing in the community. This slides illustrates the overall timeline of the OCP project. This project was started or initiated in January 2023. We did some internal review and consulted with internal departments just to make sure the current land use designation policies supports different type of housing. In the spring and the summer, we hosted open house sessions at the City Hall just to gather community feedback. Currently, we are in the public engagement phase and collecting feedback from members of the community, community organizations, local indigenous organizations, First Nations, and relevant provincial agencies. And in the fall 2025, we are aiming to bring it to the council for first and second reading around October 26, 2025. There is a provincial deadline that we have to meet. So the OCP has to be updated and adopted before the end of the year, which is December 2025. So we are on a tight deadline. So after gathering the input from community and relevant stakeholders, we will come up with a draft OCP that will be presented to council for consideration and adoption. I'm gonna pass it along to my colleague Krisha. She's gonna touch base regarding. She's gonna provide some more information about small-scale multi-unit housing, and provide a summary of key amendments and how, as a community member, you can get involved. So, Krisha, it's over to you.
Thanks, Pranesh. Okay, so the intent of the small-scale multi-unit housing legislation is to encourage missing middle housing forms, primarily in single-family and duplex zones, increase the housing supply, and create diversity in housing choices, which in turn will over time contribute to more affordable housing across the province. As illustrated on the right here, these missing middle housing forms are typically townhomes or smaller walk-up apartments and even carriage homes or secondary suites in dwellings, meaning people can still develop fewer units, but the local government must allow a minimum of 3 or 4 units based on the parcel size. Next slide, please. As per the latest housing needs report, the city anticipates a demand for 471 units in the next 5 years and 1,325 units in the next 20 years. This includes needs for extreme core housing, persons experiencing homelessness, anticipated growth, rental vacancy rate adjustment, and additional local demand. The official community plan update will focus on regulations to meet this housing demand. Next slide. Provincial pro-housing directives emphasize increased housing supply and streamlined approvals. But effective implementation requires nuanced local policy approaches that align with the community context. It should also align with the infrastructure capacity and environmental constraints. With consideration to the legislation and housing needs report recommendations, some key local policy considerations include promoting infill in serviceable areas by prioritizing residential intensification in areas already supported by the infrastructure. It should also be supported by the transit to optimize land use, reduce emissions, and minimum service expansion costs. The scope also includes reviewing and updating development permit area guidelines to streamline development, especially housing development. And finally, to support the compact, form-based growth models by encouraging development patterns that emphasize density, design quality, and walkability, using form codes where appropriate. That guides the physical character of new growth while supporting vibrant and livable communities. Next slide. The scope also includes updating growth and land needs projections, general land use policies, population projections, densities, and density guidelines. The land use maps will be updated to reflect the growth targets, changes to the land parcels, changes to the flow of the river, and alignment with the agricultural land reserves. The Local Government Act requires that official community plan must be updated every 5 years, while the entire OCP will be revisited to be updated to align with the needs of the community at the time. Next slide. Thank you so much, everyone, for getting involved. We appreciate you taking the time out to viewing this presentation. For the next steps, you can check the website for further information and fill out the survey by scanning this QR code or even visiting the website. You can reach out to us on the given email address if you would like to discuss the OCP further, and we are happy to answer any questions. Thank you.